hockey friends and families around the world, and welcome back to another edition of Our Kids Tryout for Hockey. Actually, it's Our Kids Play Hockey. Funny episode today. This is our pre-skate, ID skate, pre-tryout episode. So we're not doing the tryout episode yet. That's coming because we know that's one of your favorite episodes when we talk about evals and tryouts, how to approach them, the ins, the outs, the coach's perspective, the parent's perspective. This is too much of a teaser than it needed today. But what we're going to be talking about today is pre-skates and ID skates. Okay, so I'm here with Mike, the two coaches today. Christy Casciano-Burns on assignment. I do love saying that. And what we're going to be talking about is you've probably seen these emails coming out that your organization is going to have a pre-skate or an ID skate. So we're going to identify what these are. Mike and I are going to talk about what we like and dislike about them. I'm going to give you a hint. It's mostly dislike. And then we're going to tell you how you can approach them, because there are some benefits to these things if you have the right mindset going in. But we want to be very clear about what they are. So Mike, as the elder coach here, I don't mean in age, I mean in experience. I want you to set this up for the audience. Pre-skates, the ID skates, they're out, the schedule's out. Parents listening, kids listening are wondering, do I need to do this? The coaches listening are going, oh my God, what are they about to say? Mike Benelli, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I'll push back a little bit that I don't like them. I don't like them when they're used against me if I'm running the organization, but I do like them if I'm the organization doing them. So I think it's more, I think overall, like, and again, not getting into tryouts. I think we've had multiple episodes that tryouts really don't exist anymore. Like, I think the if you're a parent here the first time your child's coming from like a learn to skate or learn to play or a rec environment, yes, you are in a tryout. Like you go to a rink, they're opening up, it's your first year of squirt hockey. Say it's like you're 9 years old or 10 years old, you're trying out for a 10U team. You could go in there and you could turn some heads and be like, oh, where'd that kid come from? Like, I've never seen that player. So I think that's where when we go back to the ID skates, which frankly have started in 2025. If you listen to the episode in 2026 right now, like I saw ID skates over the holiday break. I saw, ID skates right before New Year's.
Yeah.
And now we're starting to see the next wave of ID skates, evaluations, and opportunities to see their players. So if you're the organization running it, I would say good for you. You're circumventing the way the rule is written. And if I was the person fighting it, I would say, well, then go back to your governing body and say, well, then why don't you have a rule that you can enforce? Because it's just not a tryouts, again, in my opinion, are a thing of the past. They don't exist anymore, especially at the older levels, anything above 10 years old. ID skates and evaluations have now become the chance to showcase your child's skills and get a look at a player before the rest of the group does. But I would even go even further than that and say most ID skates don't even involve skating. They just involve you signing up your child with money because somebody's already told you that you're on the team. So as you look through the lens of what the ID skate has become, it's really just another portal to bring kids in earlier than everyone else within the rules of USA Hockey.
Well, and without tampering, right? Like, so one of the big things that I'm told about all the time is, tampering. We can't tamper it, which is true, right? That at least it should be true. Whereas, like, you're not allowed to really actively recruit players from another team in terms of on ice activities until the season has concluded. Now, this happens all the time. All right, let's just be honest about it. All right.
I had a mother. I was coaching a game in Long Island, I think it was. And the mother that was running the clock was the team manager of the other team. And she was asking me about getting on my team during the game, Like, do you have an evaluation link you could send me? And I'm like, we're in the game right now. Right. We're playing in the game. Well, so it's crazy.
I'm going to take a step back. Maybe we'll go all over the place here. There's a great explanation of what these are, Mike. All right. And the buyer beware tag is on these things there's a lot of different ways you could look at it. From a negative standpoint, it could be a cash grab in your mind. It could be an unfair advantage for some teams in your mind. I do want to share at least my coaching perspective on this. Now, every coach is different. Mike, I think you and I will be somewhat aligned on this, but I'm very content. Follow me here, everybody. coaching the kids that are in front of me. Okay. Like whoever I pick, I'm going to coach those kids. All right. And this is at any age level. It might not even be kids, right? It's whatever players are on the team is who I'm going to coach. All right. It's my job to coach them up. Now, with that said, I'm not saying that I'm not going to try and put the best team on the ice. All right. Like I do actively look at the players, look at their families, look at who they are. But to say what Mike's point was earlier, and parents listening, this is the most important thing if you take anything away from these kind of eval pre-skate episodes. It is a year-long exploration into who you are as a family, into who your kid is as a player, how coachable they are. By the eval, I mean, most of the time I know already. All right. And again, look, we said this in the last episode. The truth is this: 85 to 90% of the team, it's not that they're picked, it's they're projected, right, Mike? Like they're projected to make the team. We have an idea of who's going to be on the team. So if we're doing anything at eval, it's usually coming down to a few bubble players, right? And we know their ability usually too. I mean, there is the occasional wild card that comes out of nowhere. All right. Mm-hmm. But we put too much emphasis. I gotta say this too, Mike. Depending on the age group, again, we'll do our normal split, like beneath 12 and above 12. If you're under 12U, if you're 12U or under, excuse me, the fact that we're talking about ID and, tampering and looking, I mean, it's ridiculous to me. It's unbelievable to me that in youth sports we do this. Now, I know there are people listening. Well, I got to switch teams and I got to do this. I'm not saying that's wrong all the time, but I'm saying, man, do we put more pressure on this than we need to? Right? Your kid's got to play somewhere. As long as if you've got a good coach and your kid's having fun under 12, it's true over 12 too, but under 12, you're in a good spot. You're in a good spot. Make sure your kid is telling you whether they're happy or not. No, so many parents, oh, Mike, we're not happy here. You're not happy, or the kid's not, or you're both not happy. Are you sure the kid's not happy? His kid's smiling out there, right? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I just think it's like I think parents feel like they're the sucker if they wait and go to tryouts. I really do. I think they think like and because like even me now, like what you get, I'm getting calls, like I'm negotiating with parents of like 2017s. Like that's a very young child, like a little baby.
Yeah, they're
and it's like,
9.
oh well, like I'm hearing from program directors around the country, really, but like everybody, like the guys and girls I talk to that are in this every day. And running ID skates, I'm not gonna say that the programs that I'm associated with and work with and advise and run around with don't run them, because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like you have to run it because the other guy's running it, and if you don't run something, you can't capture at least the information on the player. But I am convinced that nobody, if you're going to do anything that involves travel hockey and any label that's from A, AA, or elite or AAA, you're not going to a rink, and the first time somebody knows about you is when you step on the ice.
Right.
It's just not really accurate anymore. Because even now, parents have to be proactive. It's like, hey, my son's coming to tryouts. He's coming from this organization. Here's his hockey resume. Here's what he's done in the past. We've heard really great things about you. We'd love to play for you. What can you do for us? And oh, by the way, my son's 6. And that happens all the time. It's not even like it sounds crazy, but and then we accept the call. Like we actually take, like me, I'll take that call. I'll take that email.
I will.
I mean, I'm like, okay. I said, I'd love to have him. Where are you coming from? Oh, you have to take how many ferries to get here? Yeah, no problem. I think it's a great choice. Like, so to me, going back to what you said earlier, if you're a coach right now of a AAA elite team, say they're 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, lock them up, get them in. I think USA Hockey should allow, and I mean, I probably have to brush up on the rules a little bit, but those players that are on your team today, you should be able to lock them in right now for next year. They don't have to go. They should have to go to another tryout. If I believe in you and you believe in me, sign up. We're in.
Yeah.
And if you choose to go explore, to see the grass greener on the other side, then you've forfeited your right to be, guaranteed a spot. I think it would eliminate. I think if you allowed those players to sign up for the team they're already on and lock them in, Listen, it's the appeal of college coaches and a lot of high school coaches that they get to work with a player for like 2 or 3 or
Oh, it's
four
brilliant.
years.
Yeah.
It's so appealing to do that, right? If you're working with a youth program and you're working with like if you're a real coach and you really want to make an impact, working with a kid for 6 months does not do that.
No.
Working with a
Six
kid for
years
three
will.
years, six
Yeah.
years, oh
Six
my
years.
God, it's like the best.
Yeah.
So, if you're a coach out there, you should find a way to lock those kids
Well,
in.
I'm going to explore that with you a little bit more here, Mike, because there's a whole nother side to this, right? Like, again, and we told the audience, like, we're talking a little bit about the darker side of this right now. There is a light side too, but the other side of this is, and I'm gonna speak from my own experience. And Mike, I know you do this too. Build a program and a team where the culture is so strong and the development is so strong that nobody wants to go anywhere else. They want to be with you, right? And I rarely talk about like my own process in terms of like the successes of it, but that has been very successful for me. I want to create an environment where kids, or when I coach national team, adults want to be there. And what's crazy about it, Mike, and this is a cool stat that I'm very proud of with those of you know, I coach the Puerto Rican women's national team. Okay. And every time I say that, people go, "There's hockey in Puerto Rico." Yes, we have a very good team, right? Mostly NCAA players. All right. We have gone from my start, we had 15 players to over 100 in 1 year. All right. And it's not, I'm not saying that's because of me. I'm saying that we as a whole created an environment and a culture that is so strong that people are now wanting to play for us. All right. And again, the naysayers out there said, well, yeah, you have to qualify that for being Puerto Rican. While we have a strong team, that's not the largest pool of players in the world, right? We grew awareness. Yeah, we grew awareness. We grew culture. We shared that mission. And now they are finding us. This applies to youth organizations, right? I want people to say, man, Lee's a great coach. You'll love playing for that guy. People want to be underneath Lee as a player, not underneath, but you know what I'm saying? They want to play for that guy because he creates great culture and it's great development. I don't want it to be, well, Lee wins all the time. That's why you want to play for him. That team wins, and that's why you want to play for him. And I'll say too, Mike, again, please cut me off here in a minute, but like, I'm very blessed that a lot of the teams I work with do win, but it's not because we're focused so much on the winning. We're focused on the culture. We're focused on the development. We're focused on making better hockey players. So for the parents listening, that's what you should be looking for. And here's the problem, and I'm going to go back and forth here. Everyone's selling that this time of year. Everyone's selling how great their culture is at tryout time, and how wonderful it is at tryout time. Do your research. Talk to the people on the team. Talk about how great it is. Look, Mike, to your point earlier too, I want to say this. I'm not going to turn down a call from a player or a family. I'll take every call, all right, because I do want to build a great team, all right, but not at the sacrifice of our culture or of our morals, right? That's what you should be looking for and trying to get into. And here's the nice part about it is if you're that type of family where the culture matches, it becomes a pretty quick match, right? If you're just trying to find a winner, it's so obvious to me very quickly what your intentions are, right? If you're shopping around or you're not giving me like easy information, like how to contact someone, I know you're shopping around, and I'm probably not going to pursue you at that point. You can pursue me, but it's like I'm not going to be left out in the cold when you decide someone else is better for your family. All right. And if they are, great. Like I'm not upset. Like if you find a thing that fits for you, I want your kid to be where they want to be. All right. Right. Oh. It's my job to create the environment for them to want to be with us, though. Is all that fair, Mike, what I just said?
That's got to be, yeah. I mean, it's common. Well, the problem is when I look at it, it's like common sense. Like there has to be a core belief and a core value that I have that I only want players that want to play for me.
Right.
Like I'm not negotiating with you. I think the world of NIL and all this other stuff. And we see it right now, how it's beating up college coaches. Like it's literally destroying the college game what it's meant to be, because really good coaches that want to coach are now becoming agents, and they're becoming
it's pro sports,
and they're really like letting their values win. I mean, lose compared to really what they want. And I think if you're out there as a parent right now and you have a player that you're negotiating with a coach, and they're talking about how close a family they are and what kind of development structure they have and how great they are, and they're undercutting 5 or 6 kids on their current team right now to try to get you, then that is not the coach that is
Yeah.
following those values or adhering to those things.
I've been the player on those teams where the coach is willing to cut you for that. And it's a touchy subject, right? Because at the older levels, they're going to build the most talented team. And I can understand that. I think the questions are, is there a place for me to go to develop? Right. And I'll also say this too, that I have seen coaches sell their soul for players. I wrote about this in my book, and it destroys the team. I've seen coaches get the most talented players they can find, but they're not great people, and the culture is destroyed, and the team does not succeed.
Yeah, no, I've copied little chapters of your book and sent them to coaches that I said, how do you have 50% turnover on your team? Like how? I mean, and I'm talking about the real teams that want to win, like teams that want to win, and they think that by plugging the holes of just bringing in another player, and everybody else on the team sees that. Like every single kid in the locker room goes, "Who's this kid? And who are these 3 kids?" And oh wait, is he coming in for my position, or what like it just what happens, it undercuts everything you chose, if you did it, chose to do as far as building a culture in your team, by always undercutting your players, looking for the next best player instead of developing the talent that you picked in the first place. And let me tell you something, that catches up with coaches really quick. And when you see coaches that are at the bottom of the barrel all the time, and maybe they have that 1 year, and the next thing you know, it just drops because they chose to go away from their culture, go away from their real beliefs, go away from what they're probably really good at, and that's coaching, and become negotiators and looking for the next like flash in the pan. And then now you're taking players that really need to fight for you at the end, and you're diminishing their opportunity.
Well, I got a statement here, Mike. This might be the core of the episode here. This is why I love talking with you, Mike, because you and Christy always make me think live on the air. Parents, listen to this one. There is a big difference between a hockey coach and a salesman. And there are a lot of coaches that are salesmen. All right.
Good ones.
Good salesmen. Yeah. And they will convince you that this is the right place for you, but that's what they're good at. The actual hockey stuff is very average. I don't want to downplay them too much. All right. But you'll know great coaches by one, in my opinion, Mike, one really important factor, which is you can feel that they care about your kid. You can feel it, right? On the ice, off the ice. They're going to do everything they can to help your kid. All right. But I have been sold by salesmen to come to their team. Again, a bit more wiser to it now. There are signs when someone's a salesman. They're also yes men. Everything you dream of will happen on this team. That's not realistic. Let's just talk about how to identify a salesman, right? That's one of them. If they're just yesing you to death, that's a red flag. I'll make you captain. I'll make you assistant captain. I'll put you on the first line. You'll start in net. Major red flags. All right. You got to be careful with that, right? No great coach is going to promise anyone a line without knowing that's going to change, right? Because I'll tell you right now, if your game goes to hell, you're not going to be on the top line anymore. That's just how it is. Go ahead, Mike.
I know I quote Nick Saban a lot, but there was a really great story in his book that I forget the player he was recruiting, but it was the top recruit in the country for quarterback. And the kid said, and the dad said, like, we went to Alabama because Coach Saban was the only one that didn't guarantee him a starting spot as a freshman. Right. And guess what? It made him made him one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football. And then
Saban quits. I should say Saban retires. He didn't quit.
Yeah.
He retires because NIL won't allow for that anymore, basically. That's why he said it. He said, I can't coach.
I'm not a coach anymore. I'm not a coach anymore. You become not a coach. You become a manager and an agent. And I think, for me, like going back to like the whole ID skate and the whole like getting looked at early and earlier and earlier and earlier. Like, again, you got to remember, we're hiding tryouts in winter because saying that we're going to do a special winter select team, or we're going to do like a tournament team, and we hide. And so I don't know. I wish they would just throw out all these regulations personally, because they're not getting abided by anyway. And I just wish they'd say, if you want to go to a team and you sign up, then you sign up. whenever you want. If you want to do it in January, you want to do it in November, just go sign up for the team,
Now you are
and
talking
then
NIL.
and then build player. Well, whatever, but then make force coaches, force organizations to build teams that people want to go to.
Yeah, I
And
agree with you.
and it's just to me, or you have to go the other way. If you live in this place, you can only play in these places. That's it. But we're not built like that. Like we're not built.
Yeah.
In especially on the East Coast, we're not. We have like where I'm from. There's 17 rinks within a half hour
Yeah, me
of
too.
each other.
Me too.
So like we're not built for, well, if you live on this block, you must play for this team.
Right.
We're not built like that. So the only other way to do it is to either discipline the programs that are blatantly recruiting and signing kids early, or let them do it and say, hey, just let the
let's stop acting like it's not happening. Like let's stop acting like you're not asking.
And we all look at each other, because what the problem is, then it's just like having a student that misbehaves, and everybody's misbehaving, and then the one day you're going to come down on that one student.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, all those students did it all year. Well, that's the rule. I go, yeah, but it hasn't been the rule all year. Why is it now the rule today?
Yeah.
And I think that happens all the time in USA Hockey and in governing bodies, because all of a sudden they want to put the hammer down. I'm like, well, where was that hammer for the last 6 months?
Right.
And it's just like, if I get pulled over because my windows are too tinted, then the cop says, oh, I'm pulling you over. Your windows are too tinted. I go, there's 17 cars right in front of me. Well, I know, but I stopped you.
Yeah.
But you're the one I stopped. I think it's just
one time I got stopped because the cop said, well, you had a different license plate. He said that to me. You just had a different state. I was like, wow.
Well,
okay.
if you're from Pennsylvania, I'm pulling you over too. But I think it's just like, I think it's one of these things where, the ID skate piece has to be framed in the fact that it's just, if the organization's using it to just see who's interested, then great, whatever, who cares? But if the kid that's going to it doesn't think that the organization they are currently in doesn't know about it, you're delusional, of course. So what do you think is going to happen? The minute you do that, the minute you go to an ID skate of an organization in season, the organization you're currently with is like, well, this person really doesn't value being with me.
Right.
So they're going to do one of two things, right? They're either going to up the negotiating, and maybe that's your tactic. Maybe your tactic is to say, hey, I'm going to show them that, hey, how difficult it's going to be without me. Or they're going to say, oh, that kid's kind of a bubble kid anyway, so now it's easier for me to cut him because he doesn't want to be here anyway. So it's a very you got to be really careful about how you frame it and how you use the ID skate. And if you're a parent that says, and I'll lay one more thing, if you're a board member of the organization that's making decisions for all the other kids in the organization, and your child goes to another ID skate, you should be taken off the board immediately. You should not be allowed to dictate what other people's kids are doing and restricting what they can and can't do. If your own kid is going to see what's out there, to test the water.
If you're going to represent an organization, your kid needs to be representing that organization. I gotta say this.
I could name 7 organizations right now that their board members' kids are at other people's ID skates.
Right. Well, and I do want to say this, Mike, because I'm going to get called a hypocrite if I don't. Like, I'm heavily involved with my local youth team, but my daughter plays for a different team. But that was because she switched to an all-girls team. And to me, that was
if they don't offer an all-girls team, it's
right, and they
it's
don't.
A whole different scenario.
So that was an acceptable, because I really thought about that. To me, that was an acceptable change, right? And I want to take this a little bit with that too. So parents listening are going to go, yeah, but Mike, what am I supposed to do? Other kids are doing it. I don't know what I'm doing. What if I miss this and there's an opportunity here? This is what you need to do. Okay, let's start going into some solutions here. If you're feeling the FOMO of not going to ID skates at other organizations, just take a step back and first off, ask yourself, why are you looking at another organization? If you don't have a really good answer to that question, you don't need to do it. If the other kids on the team are doing it, you don't need to do it. Well, they're all going to leave this team. That, to me, that's not a great, if everyone's trying to leave a team, first off, that's alarming. All right. I guess you got to think about that. All right. But you got to think about why. All right. And then you got to think about it, not about what the other kids are doing. What do you want as a family? Look at the teams, look at the coaches for the next year, and say, are these great coaches? I can tell you that with so much certainty, my friends listening, that there have been years that I have opted when I was in youth hockey, and I'm so thankful we made these decisions. I opted to play for teams with great coaching that I knew would not be the top teams in the district or whatever we did back then. And I learned so much those years. I became such a better hockey player those years than when I was just on a winning team. And I love winning. I love when my teams would win, but I'd be lying if I told you the teams that won, and everyone should experience winning. Don't get me wrong. I'm not downplaying that. I'm just saying I always learned more in the other years than I did the years when we won. When we were winning, it was because what I had learned was paying off. And you've got to have those years. But you've also got to have I call them the development years, the confidence years and development years. And if you've got a great coach that's teaching your kid to be great or better, I would not stray from that. I wouldn't. So you got to sit down and write down, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish? Now, the other thing that comes up a lot, I was going to say a note earlier that, our top audiences are Toronto, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, where there's a lot of hockey. I give a shout out to places like Arizona, where you have no choice where you're going. We know you know what team you're going to next year. So God bless the smaller market hockey cities. I think the other option, Mike, too, is that if you're trying to jump a level, if you're trying to go from tier 2 to tier 1, there's a lot of people go, well, I want to do that. So this is what I always tell parents and the kids, that if you are a tier 2 player and you're interested in going to tier 1, these skates, you have to go in it with the right mindset of, go do it. I don't have a problem with that if you're trying to go to a higher level. I want you to succeed at the highest level you can succeed at, but you got to go in with the right mindset, which is you may or may not make this team. The more important mindset is, why don't you see where you're at? Because to make a tier 1 team, sometimes it could take a year or 2 or 3, right, before you're able to play at that level, but you won't know where you're at until you skate with some of these kids. So, I had a kid last night say to me, hey, I think I want to go try out for this tier 1 team. He plays tier 2. I said, yeah, go. This is my organization. Go do it. See what you can do. Because if you can make that team and your family can commit to that travel and that money, I don't want to hold you back. I really don't. I hate to lose you, but go see where you rank. And then, you know what? Come back to me with a plan if you don't make the team of the things you need to work on. Be proactive instead of coming back and saying, oh, they're stupid, they didn't pick me. No. How did you feel out there? Did you feel like you matched out there? Did you feel like you were there? I'm going to turn a little bit here, Mike, and I'm throwing it to you. Like, if you're going to go to an ID skate or a pre-skate, there's a few different ways you should be doing that, right? One, if it's within your own organization, I really hope you look at it like, well, it's good ice time to get ready for evals. Like, the way I look at it is, if my kid's off for 2 or 3 weeks prior to tryouts, the pre-skates are great because it gets you on the ice, right? And you get to move around a little bit. That's a tremendous value if you haven't skated for 2 or 3 weeks. All right. Yeah. Now, if you're just finishing the season and it's happening during the season, I wouldn't do them. No, like, you're in season. All right. But if you just need a skate warm up or a chance to move around, they're great. If you are seriously considering changing organizations, there's value there. You get to meet some of the kids. You get to meet some of the coaches for the first time. It is a tryout for you. I mean, they get to see you. All right. Like, there are reasons these things are okay. All right. But if it's based on FOMO, based on you're shopping yourself to 5 different evals, that's tough for me as a coach. That's tough for me as a coach, because it means you don't know what you want. Right? I want you to know what you want. What do you want? You want great coaching? Do you want to win? I'm going to say this too. There's nothing wrong with any of these answers. If you're saying, well, I want to play for a winning team, I get it. I can understand that. All right, I'm not telling you that your reasons are wrong, but have a freaking reason. Don't go to 4 pre-skates and then say, well, I like their jersey the best. I want that gear. Go ahead, Mike.
That's okay too, I guess. I mean, if you like it. I mean, it's your favorite team color.
I do know people that weigh that. Yeah.
I think, but the other side too, and you said it a little earlier too, is be careful if you go to an evaluation or an ID skate and you're like, oh, this guy's on the team, like, he's going to make the team, no problem. Like, if you came out of nowhere, like, you have to have a little bit of, like, you better look around and be like, well, how am I making this team? Like, like, how are there 7 spots available on this team? And be careful of the fact that you've developed to a point where maybe if you can hold your own on the ice with the team you're on, you better be so much better than every single person on the team you're currently on to switch to a team that you think might be better for your development, and it's just they have a roster spot because 7 kids left. That's a whole different scenario. And again, I know if you're a new parent to this whole thing, it's hard. It's not
Oh
easy.
yeah.
And if you're a
Yeah.
seasoned veteran parent, it's like, oh yeah,
Here we
I've
go
been down
again.
that road before. Like I've been like
Yeah.
I remember there was an organization that I was working with and some kids, and 6 of them left one team to try out in an eval ID skate, and all 6 made the quote unquote AAA higher level team. I'm like, all 6 of you made the other team? I said, how was there even that much room in the roster, like for
Yeah.
you to make the team? And they're like, oh, we tore it up. I go, yeah, but your current team could beat that team. So why are you leaving? Is it because of the letters? Is it because of the more travel? Is it because of the exposure? Like again, it's buyer beware. Just understand if 6 kids from your organization go and try out in another organization that's better and they all make it, I'd probably go, well, how the hell did that happen? Like
Yeah.
that doesn't seem accurate. And conversely, listen, if you're unhappy with your organization and you just think you want to get into another organization earlier in the life cycle of your child, so that because you have a goal of maybe you look in 4 years, say, wow, that's an organization in 4 years I really want to play with. There's no doubt that if you're in the organization,
Right.
it's going to give you a leg up to
Oh,
find out
100%.
where you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like you get to see the body of work. Like this whole thing with telling me you can see a kid in an hour. Yes, of course we can see he's good. He's talented. Yes,
Yeah.
but I can't tell anything about the kid other than that.
We
So
can get a base level of evaluation, meaning I can see their skill sets. That's basically it. Yeah.
Right, and trust me, there's be no lack of parents in the stands that are going to get you in your ear and say, "Oh, you don't want this kid. This kid's like, oh, because it's always going to be
Yeah.
like, or and it's always going to be the kid that is going to that kid's going to take his spot, right? So it's like, oh, you don't want that kid. He's a bad apple. But they said, oh, why? Because he's better than your child right now. Like I'm going to cut him for your kid right now. Like so, it's like organizations vary in who they are. There's loyal organizations, and I don't mean loyal meaning I mean loyal that their first priority is to develop the kids they currently have.
Right.
And then there's just compilers like throw 150 kids on the ice, and I'm going to grab the top 50, no matter who they are, no matter who they're no matter anything. I'm picking them based off of that kid goes around a cone better than that kid, and I'm picking the kid. I'm compiling the best kids. There's nothing wrong with that either. Just understand the program you're going to the ID skate for.
You got to coach the kids in front of you. All right. I'm going to say this too, Mike, that you're just making me think about. So I just want to talk to the parents again. What I'm about to say is easier said than done. Relax. Just relax. Like I mean it. Like we put more stress on our kids than we need to. And like if your kid is freaking out about tryouts, there's a good chance you're freaking out about tryouts. All right. And it's just relax. Like I got to say this too. It's like we always talk about the ROI and the value, right? Like this is going to sound so bad, but there's so much value in life experience in not making the team you want to make. Right. I know that's a weird statement. Of course you want your kids to make the team they want to make. But the truth is this, and parents, correct me if you disagree with what I'm about to say. The truth is this, a lot of the anxiety, most of the anxiety is coming from you don't want your kid to feel the immense pain they're going to feel when they don't make the team they want to make. I'm a parent and I understand that feeling, but I am also, and I mean this, parents, I'm very content with it. If my kid doesn't make the team they want, that there's an opportunity there for me as the dad and my wife as the mom to teach them about accountability. There's also a little self-reflection of if your kid didn't make the team they wanted to make, there's probably a reason for that. And the reason is not always the coach screwed me. The reason is your kid might be being put at an appropriate development level for their abilities.
Yeah.
And that you have to be okay with that. I'm going to say this statement, and I want everyone to hear me. There's nothing wrong with being on a B team. There's nothing wrong with it. All right. I always know there's a few players on the B team that think they should be on A team, and maybe you should. All right. But like you have to deal with the hand you were given And you've got to be able to be comfortable with growing in that environment. And if you are blaming the organization, blaming the coach, and blaming the other parents, and blaming the other team, your kid is going to end up doing that in their life. They're going to blame everybody else. And I'm going to say this too. You may have a point. You may have a point with some of that. Don't tell your kid that. Kids got to be accountable. Now's your opportunity to lead this team. Now's your opportunity to learn. Let's meet the coach. All right. Typically, I know it's like B team coaches, typically volunteers, typically pretty good coaches, right? Nobody volunteers and like, I want to coach B. Like the people coaching B are making a choice to be there. They probably really care. Okay. Yeah. So again,
they probably do. They want to try to be they want to be a coach. Like, I think it's just like anything. Like if you go to an evaluation, an ID skate, a tryout, and you trust that that's the team you want to be on, it goes both ways. You also have to trust that the people evaluating your kid are good enough to evaluate the talent they want. So it's like, nobody wants a bad team. Like nobody's picking a team that says, oh, I'm going to try to pick a team that's going to give us the least chance of winning. They don't do that.
No.
So if you're like I've always looked at it, like I've been blessed with having been a part of a lot of really great organizations, high level, low level, B level, A level, pro level, and parents during the tryout process, literally, I could get anything. They love me, tickets, coffee, every practice, I get another cup of coffee sent to me, right? If you trust me enough that you want your son to play for me, and then I cut them, and then you tell me I'm full of what, then I just don't take any value in that. I'm like, well, you loved me for the last 3 weeks. You thought I was the greatest thing ever. And if I'm so good at what I do, and I think I am, then it's painful. Like nobody wants to listen. Nobody enjoys the process of cutting a child.
Oh,
nobody enjoys the process
of
having to make a decision on a bubble kid. Nobody. But don't make it easy for us. Like, don't make it easy for the coach to do that. You can make it easy. Trust me. But nobody likes it. Nobody revels in it. No, to this day, I'll wake up in the middle of the night saying, I can't believe like I didn't give that other kid a chance, or wow, I really missed
let's take it.
Kid.
I'll take it a step further for you. How about this, parents? There are kids that are massive troublemaking kids that you might go, God, I hope he doesn't pick that kid. It still hurts cutting that kid. Even though it's like everything you said is, oh, we got to cut that kid. I've never cut anyone and taken any enjoyment in it ever. I can't think of one time where I felt that. And I'll tell you right now, if coach is listening, if you take enjoyment in that, oh man, you need to do some self-reflection.
I've been relieved that a kid has pretty much cut themselves, like done things.
Yeah, that's different. That's
like
different.
I've been relieved, like, oh, I dodged a bullet there. Like this kid made it so easy for me to get rid of him that I didn't have to do that.
But to me, that's different. That's different.
Nobody wants to look at a kid that's working his ass off and showing up to all the dry lands and doing all the workouts and watching his nutrition and working on all the things you ask a player to do, and then you have to cut them. Nobody.
Well, I'll say this too, to the point we were making earlier too. For anybody that's obsessed or focused on quote unquote making it to the next level, making it to high level hockey, it's the kids who go through a lot of adversity that tend to make it. There's so many studies. We'll have to do an episode on this coming out right now, that early like talent does not make it. Like by and large, they don't make it, right? It's the kids who face a lot of adversity and drive through it and push through it. They're finding those are the kids now that are making it, to the point that even the U.S. national team, the development teams like the U18, U16, they're not identifying early talent anymore. They're waiting to see what kids break through of that time period that have faced adversity, because they're finding those kids are tougher. This has been a big discussion in Hockey Canada as well. I don't want to get away from ID skates and pre-skates. Again, that'll be a different episode. But we're bringing up a lot of these tryout ID skate topics and these emotions because it's important to identify them before you go in, right? And Mike, I say it every year, without fail, last 6 years, someone comes up to me at the eval, because I'm typically actually in the stands. All right, this year I'll be doing more of the eval process, but a parent will say, "How are you so calm? How are you so calm?" And because I have no control over what's going to happen here. It's done. Like it's already done, right? And I just want my kid to go out there. And I've been asked this: what do you tell your kid before the eval? When they're younger, when they were young, hey, you're going to a skate today. I don't even tell them it's an eval. I don't even say, yeah, you better do good today. Because no, I want them to play their game. I tell them, you got to go hard. You got to work hard. Like, don't go out there and be a schmuck. Okay. Like, I might give them that, like, make sure you're working hard today, but I don't put too much emphasis on it. And here's the funny thing, parents, by the time the kids recognize and realize they're going to the tryout, they will put enough pressure on themselves. Okay. And if they're not putting enough pressure on themselves, man, you can give them a little tap maybe, but let it be. That they're not mature enough yet to understand. You putting more pressure on them to succeed is not going to help them succeed in today's environment. 30, 40 years ago, that might have been a different conversation. Yeah. All right. But like if your kid's nervous, man, you should be the safe place for them. Just go out there and do your best. And if you're going to an ID skate or a pre-skate and you're putting pressure on them for that, I don't know what to say at this one, Mike. It's like you should not be doing that at a pre-skate or ID skate. You should have very clear goals and thoughts of why you're doing this. We're going to this so you can meet the coaches, you can see the other players, and you can work and see how you feel. That's a safe environment. If you say to your kid, you need to perform here, so they're going to take you at tryouts. I mean, parents, what are we doing? What are we doing to our kids in that environment? All right, you get scared them to death.
And I will say, if the ID skate is free and it's not interfering with your normal skate, go to it.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you know what? And tell the coach, hey, listen, I'm going for this free skate. The guys got all over.
Like, I would say free or like very low cost. Let's throw that in.
Yeah, if it's but you know, and frankly, like, you know, even the ID skate, like, what is it? Like, what is it worth to you? Like, is it really worth you giving up a spot on your current team? Like, because remember, once you start shopping, then the shopping goes both ways. It just does. Yeah. So once you start shopping, you're around, and everyone knows that this is not the world of, listen, when I grew up, I had no idea there were kids on other teams. I'm like, what do you mean there's another team in the other town? I didn't even know we had another team. Like,
there's another team.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Like, nobody knew. Now everyone knows. You do your kid does an Instagram post that he's walking in the locker room of another team, and everyone knows it the next day, right? So
I love that.
So somebody's doing a live stream of the eval and it's just, listen, it's just, we all want kids to play for us. I get it. We all want to be the first choice, but the minute you choose not to have the first choice be the team you're on now, and you start shopping, then everyone's shopping. Well, so just be aware of that.
And I want to say this, Mike, is, and you can comment on this too. Kids move teams. It's not unknown. Yeah. We're having a whole episode about it. Coaches take note when you do this a lot. All right. We know when you've been on 3 different teams, and we know when you're shopping around. I'm not saying don't come to me if that's the case. I'm saying that we note it, right? Like, we notice that that kid's played on 3 different teams in 3 different years. There could be a lot of reasons for that. So I'm not going to say there's a broad outcome of us knowing that, but just know that we know that. We see you shopping. We see when you're not giving us information. If I can't trust the family, that's not going to bode well. Okay. I'm not saying that you're not going to make the team. It's not fair to say that. Again, every situation is a little different, but if I can tell you're shopping, I'm not going to spend too much time recruiting. If any time, recruiting is not even the right word, especially at the younger ages. There's no way. Now, when you get older, there's some recruiting. Okay. But that's a different type of hockey. I want to kind of end here too, Mike, on some stories here. There's a family I know I'm very close with right now, that their son is playing at a very high youth level. All right. So like really kind of pre-college at this point, and being called up, being called down, right. Moving all around. And when you look at it from a lens of just kind of watching it, you could see how this might be really stressful for this family. And they are doing this so correctly because they're so calm about it. And when I talk to the parents, it's, we've raised our boy well. He's driving himself to these situations. He'll find his path, and he's doing the best he can. If that's how they're doing it at the highest level, and this is the highest level, this kid is playing at the highest level he can right now for his age, why would we not do that at the younger levels? And the thing is, I know this family, they've been this way with their kid from the start, from Adams. And that kid is succeeding because the day-to-day ocean wave of, okay, you're up, you're down, you're left, you're right, colleges are looking, there's recruiters at this game. It's not at least not on the surface, phasing this kid because he understands that is the process. And it is a joy to talk to his parents about it. And don't get me wrong, do they have parental anxiety about it? A bit, yeah. It's like their young boy is becoming, going to college or looking at junior, of course. But they have so much grace with it that it's like you feel with them, like you're like, oh man, I'm really wishing you the best. This is a top level player. It shouldn't be limited to top level players that are doing this. All right, that's the first story. The second story, which I've told before, is I've had parents come up to me and say to me, "Convince me to stay." My answer to you is no. That is not my job to convince you to stay. All right. If you are not confident in what we are doing as a team, you do what you're going to do. I mean, my convincing you to stay was my body of work over the 8-month season. If that did not convince you, which is fine, like I said, I'm not judging you on it, then you do what you got to do. But when you come to me and say, convince me to stay, I had a parent do that one time. I said, well, why are you thinking about leaving? And you know what? Mike didn't get a great answer. I didn't get a great answer. It's just you think the grass is greener. All right. And to all the parents listening, all the players listening, you have to do what you think is best for your family. All right. You do. And again, every situation is very different. But whether it's an ID skate, a pre-skate, an eval, what we are asking you to do is sit down, maybe do some goal setting. What is it that you want out of youth hockey? Why do you want to stay or want to go? Why are you looking at 15 different ID skates? And be very honest with your answers. Is it because the other kids are doing it? Is it because there's a prestigiousness with an organization, perceived prestigiousness? Is it because you don't like where you're at right now, which is an absolutely acceptable answer? Like there are absolutely reasons to switch teams. We've said that since day one of this show. All right, but be honest with yourself. And for the love of the hockey gods, do not put pre-skates and ID skates as the be-all, end-all of your season. All right, go listen to last year's eval tryout episode. It's the whole year, right? They're great if you want to get to know the coaches. They're great if you want to get to see the other kids. They're great if you want to see where you might rank within another team or organization. All right, and they're great to get on the ice just to get moving around. All right, they are not great if you think they are going to be what selects your kid. They are not great if they are a cash grab. They are not great if you're doing 10 of them. All right. And they are not great if you are being told yes to death by the organization that your kid's going to be the greatest person in the organization if you come to my ID skate. That sum that up okay, Mike?
Yeah. I mean, unless you're the kid, unless you are that kid. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like if you're good enough, listen, it's going to happen, right? I'm not going to say that it's not something great to hear, right? If you're a parent of a kid, you want to hear, oh, your child is probably, somebody we can mold, we can turn
sure.
into
Yeah, but that's
the
not
best
what
player.
that's not the same thing as you're going to be first line center captain.
Yeah, but
sure.
Well, but if that's the case, if you're getting told that and you believe it, and that's who your child becomes, and they're going to build a team around that kid, listen, I think that's great. I just don't think it. The reality is, if you're any child below the age of 16, you've got to, write down your pros and cons, figure out what it means to leave somewhere and stay somewhere. Yeah. But I think all the things like the checklist that you gave is really more of the norm and above the norm. It's the actual facts, except for those 1%ers. And those 1%ers aren't going to ID skates. They're not going like
they don't need to.
Like those kids aren't. Those are the kids that are being asked to do certain things on teams. And again, if you're that child's parents, more power to you. Great. Make help revolve the program around your kid. Awesome. But for the rest of us, think about all of the pros and cons of being in your organization. Determine whether an ID skate is going to make or break, what you want to have for your child. If you need options, great. Like I said, in other parts of the country that listen to this, you don't even have those options. Like it's like, well, even if I hated the program I'm in, what am I going to do? Travel 2.5 hours to go to another program? So you're not getting, like, we're cursed and blessed on the East Coast to have all these great options of if we're unhappy tomorrow, I can go to another team
Right.
and not affect the miles on my car. But for some of us, we don't have those
You know, the
options, right?
option, yeah.
And I think evaluate, and again, I think the last thing I would say about ID skates, and when you're making the decisions to go somewhere, I would go to ID skates that you get value out of. Like go to an ID skate that somebody's running like a clinic where they're actually skating you.
That's a great point.
It's not just like you go out there and do sticks and pucks or something. Like go out and find some value in the skate. And if you really go out there and I would say that if the ID skate is meant to be a showcase of your child, probably don't go after 2.5 hours of lacrosse practice. Maybe go fresh and understand like, hey, you're going there to get a good skate in, but don't be stressed. Don't be doing it last minute. Don't be putting all this undue pressure on the player that they must perform. And then don't put them in a place where you just did a whole tournament weekend, the ID skates Monday afternoon, the kid is burnt to a crisp, and then you're asking the kid to go on the ice and do something positive. It's a bad look, and it's not helping your kid, and it's not helping the evaluator look at your kid. You're like, I thought this kid was good. He's just got off a 12-hour road trip from a tournament this weekend. So just be aware of all that kind of stuff. But there's so many factors that go into it. I think ultimately, the ID skate is what it is. It's a way to circumvent the rules of a tryout and be aware of what it really is, and then react accordingly.
Well, and one more tip for, I guess, organizers, Mike, would be, and you just mentioned it, get a great coach to run these skates and market that this coach is going to be running it. You can say it, maybe it is a pre-skate or an ID skate, but we're going to be working on these skills. Your kid will get value out of this clinic that this great coach is coming in to run. Right. Like I sometimes I do that. Like when I'm doing evaluations, first off, I want to watch. I don't want to be coaching that. Right. Find someone great to come in and really teach the kids something and pay for it. Right.
Yeah. You're paying anyway. Get something out of it.
Yeah. All right. This has been a very good episode where we've ID'd the ID skate, right? To quote LeVar Burton, but you don't have to take our word for it. Right. No. Make sure you let us know your thoughts on this. This is one of those episodes you can have a lot of thoughts. Email us, team@ourkidsplayhockey.com, or click the link accompanying this episode in the description. Remember, we can't text you back on that one. So if you want us to know who you are, leave your name, where you're writing from, and any contact information. But as we always say, your opinion matters on this. And if you're having FOMO or you're feeling something, send it to us, right? We won't just put it on the air without asking you.
Or keep grabbing me in the hallway and having a discussion. Yes. I love that. I love when somebody grabs me and says, "You are full of crap." And I do owe a couple of people, some YouTube commenting and some Facebook stuff, and like I love it. I mean, I'm all up for somebody debunking a lot of these theories because we learn, and I'd love to hear what's going on outside of my little bubble. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I never thought about that, or I didn't realize somebody was doing that somewhere. So yeah, please, if we're wrong, and I'm wrong, and I'm often wrong, just call me out. Let's hear it. And tell me what the solution is.
Yeah, I'll say it. We can be wrong. we can. Our opinions can be wrong. Gang. Listen, Mike's making a great point. If we don't have the conversation, nothing's going to grow. We've got to have the conversations. That's why we started this podcast 40,000 years ago. All right, for Mike Bonelli, I'm Lee Elias. Thanks for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Have fun, skate hard. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your evaluation season. Take care, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey. Make sure to like and subscribe right now if you found value wherever you're listening, whether it's a podcast network, a social media network, or our website, ourkidsplayhockey.com. Also, make sure to check out our children's book, When Hockey Stops, at whenhockeystops.com. It's a book that helps children deal with adversity in the game and in life. We're very proud of it. But thanks so much for listening to this edition of Our Kids Play Hockey, and we'll see you on the next episode.